Yo, what's up, everybody, man? It's your boy, Young CEO, man, and I just jumped off the porch with Dirty Glove Blaster. Bosses!
Hey, come in and get some. I got enough.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all. We got Mr. Blessings on Blessings, aka Young CEO, jumping off the porch with us today. What's up, bro?
Man, what's going down?
Man, I'm coolin', bro. How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling blessed, brother. Shit, glad to see another day, man. You
Yes,
know how
sir.
it is.
I can dig it, man. Welcome off the porch, bro.
Hey, appreciate it.
Nah, for sure. And you coming to us from the great state of Texas.
Yes, sir.
Word.
H-Town, yeah, by way of San Antonio, Texas, too. You know.
Okay.
So, we born and raised here, out there in Houston, Texas, but, we live in San Antonio, based out of there now, so we showing love to both cities,
Yes, sir. Nah, I can dig that. And I was going to ask you about that because I saw that you have a strong alliance in San Antonio and wanted to ask what that connection was.
Yeah. So, I relocated out there about 7-8 years ago originally and just never left, but I still, show love to my city back in the 80s. Always out there every week, so yeah. I kind of got like dual residence right now. So you know how that is.
No, that's what's up, man. And San Antonio trying to claim you heavy, bro. I see them putting you on the top artist list in San Antonio and all that. So they definitely trying to claim you, trying to get one for the city.
Yeah. Because the San Antonio scene is not as big as like a Houston or an Atlanta. So I had to go out there, show them boys how that shit done. So, I'm fucking with them, they fuck with me. So, we just trying to keep grinding every day so we can make a name for ourselves in them streets.
Yeah. That boy Charles Barkley, he be talking crazy about San Antonio.
Yeah.
Man, he be trying to talk crazy about San Antonio, about the women there and all that.
Yeah, buddy.
Nah, man, but for sure, so definitely want to tap in with you and, get an understanding of, your story and what brought you to, where you at today, bro. So what side of Houston you from?
East side.
Okay.
Yeah, born and raised East side, man. Bounced around, a couple sides of town growing up, from my schooling from the north side to the southwest side of town. So, I get love from every side of town out there in Houston, man. Yeah. So I was able to experience that at a young age. So, but the east side, where I was born and raised, though.
Okay, word. And I feel like when we hear about Houston, we always hear about the north side, the south side. Yeah. I'm an OG, so, braids and fades.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But tell us about the east side. Like, what's on that side? What's different between that and what we normally hear about with Houston?
East side, like a pretty chill side of town. Like, it ain't too much going on over there. Like, shout out to my nigga Kirko Banks. He one of the representatives from the east side, Lil Jeremy. Yeah. Local rappers out there, but east side pretty chill. Like it ain't all that beef. It's somewhere we can go to relax, ease your mind, be at peace. It's still the same old east side when I go back. Like it ain't never really changed. It ain't really get gentrified or nothing. It's just the same old hood that we used to going back home to. So.
Yeah. And what influenced you at a young age when you was coming up?
As far as like what, like?
Just as far as just your motion, as you was younger and coming up, like were you influenced by sports, by music, by the streets?
Shit, man, getting money, shit, being my own boss, A lot of people like don't know like it's a reason why they call me Young CEO. Like I was always attracted to getting money at a young age. Even like when I was 9 years old, I used to sit down with my daddy, watch him pay the bills and shit, you know what I'm saying? He was the breadwinner of my family, so like he showed me how it was done, like from how to pay bills, how to make money. And I just took it an extra step. Instead of just going to get a regular 9 to 5, like I did that for a little bit. And I figured like, corporate America wasn't for me. Like I feel like I hadn't outgrew that phase of my life. So I wanted to be able to show people how you could be your own boss, no matter what age you at. Cause I always tell niggas like, you ain't gotta be great to start, but you gotta start to be great. Yeah. So it don't matter what age you at, as long as you wake up one day and you feel like you ain't scared to take that leap out on faith, shit, be your own boss. Cause for me, it's like, it's no limits with that shit, you know what I mean? Like, I was tired, like, I came from an era when we was only making $5.25 an hour, you know what I mean? So I didn't want to be stuck in that bubble. I wanted to elevate myself and, expand my brand and expand me as a person financially. Cause I knew like the shit I was taught when I was younger, like my parents be like, oh, you make $50,000 a year, you be cool. I was like, nah, fuck all that. Like, what stopped me from making $50,000 a month? You know what I'm saying? So that's just like the mindset I had. Like I was definitely influenced, like I said, by getting money. Definitely sports. I played in a band back in the day too. So a lot of people don't even know I was a musician.
Wow.
So that's really where the music for me started. I was a drummer, so I started doing that from the age of 3 on up till I got to high school. And then like it's crazy because the music ain't even really take a heavy influence on me till really in the last 2 years.
Wow.
A lot of people been thinking I've been doing this shit for 5, 10, 15 years. Like, nah, this something really fresh on the block for me because I came from a spoken word and a poetry background.
Okay.
And I've been doing that for like a little bit over 10 years too. Musicianship for me started at the age of 3. I started playing the drums at an early age and I carried that on all the way up to high school. And then like I also come from like a spoken word and poetry background. So that's what really kind of got the whole music stuff activated because I was a crossover from the poetry and spoken word industry.
Yeah.
So I really just started picking up the pen, rapping like 2 years ago. So that was like one of the biggest things that helped me out through like a lot of pains and hardships because it was like a form of therapy for me. They helped me like release a lot of things and talk to people that might be going through similar situations as myself. So.
Right. And how'd you get into playing the drums at such an early age?
Man, honestly, bro, I think that was just like a God-given talent. Like, what 3-year-old just want to walk around, just want to play the drums, you know what I'm saying? Like, 3 years old, I even look at my kids, like at 3 years old, like they want to bang on shit, but actually take it serious as a craft. Like, by the time I was like 6, 7 years old, I was already reading music.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And by the time I got to middle school, I was already like, they already knew when I came into school, they like, man, this nigga hard. Like how they talk about rappers being hard, like I was hard on them sticks.
Yeah.
So it was like, that was around that era, like when drumline and shit came out. So it's like everybody wanted to play the drums. So that was one of the things that I had already picked up way before niggas was talking about drumline and this and that. Like I was already a fool on them sticks already. So that just kind of carried over for me. So it was just something God naturally just blessed me with.
Yeah. And have you ever gotten into the production side of music or have you ever considered that?
Not really, just more like just keeping it on the, just being the vocalist, you know what I'm saying? I never thought about producing or anything like that. Like I coordinate with so many great producers, like it's hard for me to even just cut them ties with them to start doing my own thing. So yeah. I just try to focus more on like writing music and also like being the performer that I am. And then like, working with my producers to make great music.
Yeah, because when I think about, some of the greats, even coming from Houston,
yeah.
Pimp C, like bruh could play the organ, could play the keys, he could play different instruments. Scarface, he could play the bass, he could play, a few different instruments too. So just thinking about it from that standpoint, do you ever find yourself when you're working with some of the producers you're working with, actually directing them in terms of different sounds and ways that you want the beats to be played?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Like I'm very intentional when it comes to beats, cause I tell people like, look, your hit is started with that beat before you even lay your lyrics on there. The beat ain't catching, and how you expect for your fans and your people to adapt to it. So I definitely very heavy on like co-directing with the production side, especially if I'm building something from scratch. And then like I might play 100 beats before I find one that I really like, cause I'm very intentional. Like I don't just be making music just to make it. Like, I'm very intentional. Like I'm here to make hits. This is a business first. It's a hobby second.
Yeah. So
it's just like, man, when I'm listening to them beats, I'm like, yeah, that's the one right there. And sometimes they might get lucky. I done had that happen before too. Where like even like one of my last hits, that was like one of the first 5 beats they played, and I said, that's the one right there. And it ended up being like one of the most played songs right now to this day.
Yeah, I can dig that. Do you come from a musical household? Like was your parents into music heavy? Or?
I mean, so we grew up like in the church. So like my mom played trombone in the band. My dad wasn't so much of a musician, but he sung in the choir. But mom sung in the choir. I sung in the choir back in the 90s, back when they had like the old Kirk Franklin wave that came through. So. That was a big, heavy influence on me as far as like just being a musician, everything from like playing the drums, singing in the choir, but never in a million years I thought I'd be rapping. Like you'd asked me this like 5 years ago, I'd be like, hell nah. Like real talk, like people wanna know the truth, people wanna know my story, like that's what it was. Like it wasn't until like I went through like a breakup about 3 years ago and it really activated something in me that I never thought I had. Maybe it was in me the whole time, but shit, it just came out all at once.
I mean, if you're doing spoken word, I mean, that's basically
Basically rap without a beat.
Rapping without the beat.
Yeah.
For sure.
And
What got you into the whole spoken word side of things, and how early did you tap into that?
So I would say like shortly after like high school, like while I was in college, I had a lot of free time on my hand. And it was just, like I said, a form of therapy for me. Like instead of like, going to drugs or doing dumb shit, like I would just, start pimping the pen and shit and just like putting that on paper, like to try to understand what I was going through just to get through life. So I looked at that as like a GPS to like help me get to the next steps of life, and that's pretty much how that started.
Word. And at what point would you say you jumped off the porch?
As far as with the poetry,
I mean, just as far as life, like jump off the porch, it can be looked at from a few different ways, but I really look at it as like at that point in your life where you just kind of discovered yourself as an individual, got from under your parents' tutelage and started making your own moves.
Man, I would definitely say 13.
Okay.
Like most definitely. Like, don't get it twisted. Like my parents was always there to help support me. And I feel like that's any parent, like even at the age I am now, like I feel like parents never stop loving their kids. But I would say definitely 13, because like I said, when I was 9 years old, my dad was teaching me so much that was, years ahead of my time. By the time I was 13, like I was already on the porch, like breaking down weed and thought I was grown. You know what I'm saying? I literally thought, look, I was out there talking to women, doing what I wanted to do, trying to find a job. Like even if I wasn't legally able to work, I still had little side hustles I can go do in the streets. No matter what it was, whether it was legal or illegal, shit, I go break lawns just to go make some money just so I can get on a W-2, you know? So.
I can dig
already an old man, baby.
Yeah.
13.
So you had an old soul at
a young age.
Word. And who you got up here on the porch with you, bro?
So I start to my left, man. This one of my bodyguards, Tobias, man. He like a brother to me. I also got my boy Will Hustle TV, man.
Yes,
Got my boy Live back there, Black Eye Boys, man. He also one of our head securities. Got my kinfolk Los in the bag, man. He actually resides here in Atlanta. And last but not least, got my boy June all the way, man. Southside, H-Town, Texas, man, in the building. No ceilings management in the building. You heard me?
Yeah, I could dig that. Now, as a man, when you look back, when you were growing up, how much do you value having both parents in your life as you were growing up and developing?
Very heavily, because for starters, like most people don't get to say they grew up in a 2-parent household. Like I had the perfect example of what real love is supposed to look like to a child. So it's like, not even just to a child, like even just in a relationship too, because like 9 times out of 10, like we know the divorce rate is higher than anything, and most parents don't even get to stay together. So it's just like having a man in the house definitely wore a very influence on me as a man, because it showed me what a real man's supposed to look like. And the same thing like with my mother, like my mother never stopped loving me, you know what I'm saying? Everybody got mothers that, wasn't in their lives as well too, So just having both parents together working as a team to make sure that I had a better life than they did, it really wore heavy on me, because they grew up in the times when shit was barely getting segregated, where people had to blacks had to use one kind of bathroom, whites used a different kind of bathroom. So it's mind blowing to even just hear them type of stories coming from my parents' mouth. You talking, this shit happened, 40, 50 years ago, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like to see what they went through, and for them to make all the sacrifices what they did for me, I definitely give a big shout out to my parents, and to see them still living and doing the same thing to continue to help me grow so I could be a better parent and set bigger examples for my kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
And you just said something, about how all of that segregation and all of that what our parents and aunts and some of our ancestors were even going through, bro, it wasn't even that long ago.
Nah, it
really
wasn't.
When we really look at it and break it down.
It wasn't.
I mean, the thought of us being entrepreneurs, being a young CEO, having our own, like our rights, and the ability to be able to move the way that we want to move, like that wasn't even realistic, to that generation.
At all. And that's one of the things that I stay very grateful for, because one of the biggest reasons that helped me be a young CEO is that I dealt with one of my biggest problems in corporate America was racism. Like I literally had a nigga tell me on the job, my last corporate job, like he was like, "You lucky you light skinned," because nigga, he told me that bluntly to my face.
Wow.
And mind you, and this was the guy that was training me, so it's like, man, it was either like act a fool with this nigga and lose my job. I had mouths to feed at the time. I didn't have the luxury of like trying to quit a job back then. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna stick it out for at least a year. And that's exactly what I did. And then it helped me to formulate a plan for myself so I could be my own boss. Cause I knew for me, like, I got a zero tolerance for racism. I'm like, if my parents and my grandparents had to go through that shit, man, I would have probably been dead back in the day because I wasn't going for that shit at all. So, not at all. Like, we got zero tolerance. I believe in all equal rights, you know what I mean? I'm not a racist, so why you sitting there looking at me different? Like, my heart ain't no different than yours at the end of the day. So it's just like, last time I checked, we both bleed. So like, what make you so much better than me? So at the end of the day, like, that's one of the biggest struggles I had to deal with, and that's what, like I said, cranked me out to be a young CEO, because I didn't want to have the answers to nobody. I wanted to be able to create a way that I could, like, I tell you the biggest thing they told me, my whole goal was to make 6 figures on a job, right? But God put me in a position that instead of, I'm gonna give you 6 figures on a job, I'm gonna put you in a position to pay niggas 6 figures. You know what I'm saying? A year. So it's just like, at the time, I never understood it, but now I do, because he was just basically prepping me for something bigger that he had in store for me.
Yeah.
So.
People throw the word CEO around a lot.
Yeah.
And don't even really know what it is or what it takes to actually be a CEO of a company, of a brand.
Yeah.
In your experience so far, can you say one of the biggest misconceptions that you think people have about being a CEO?
Man, a lot of people try to, it's really like, it's just a title, but at the same time, like, you gotta live up to that title too. People think just cause, like, you know, they out here, they ain't working for nobody, I mean, they a big boss, but is you really putting the sacrifice, the work, ethic behind it, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of stuff that go into being a CEO. Like, I tell people, without struggle, there's no progress. And without sacrifice, there's no success. And if you ain't abiding by them 2 rules right there, you ain't no real CEO. Like, what you got to show for it? Everybody, like, popping bottles in the club, that don't mean you a CEO.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This generation got it all screwed up. Like, a boss is measured how he blesses others. That's a real CEO right there. A nigga that can get out there and put his people on. Everybody that's around here, even around me right now, they on some type of payroll. They getting paid to do something. You know what I'm saying? So when you bless somebody else, that's what measures yourself as a real boss, a real CEO.
Yeah, no, for sure. People don't understand that. Like, they just look at the glamorous side of it, and like you said, think that you just call yourself a boss and you're able to just pop bottles and look like it. But you got to put up your own money a lot of times.
Yeah.
You know, you dealing with, you know, people that you work with, that you employ, business partners, you know, other entities of business, is a lot more than just the glamorous side that people think that it is. You take losses, and people still got to get paid.
Yeah.
You know, like, the bottom line is still the bottom line. So I think a lot of people, you know, like to throw that word CEO around, but don't really understand all the sacrifice and the work, some of the sleepless nights that even come from being a CEO.
Yeah, I mean, it was times where I was only getting like 8 hours of sleep a week. And you supposed to get 8 hours of sleep a day.
Yeah.
That's what the great doctors say. But like, it's a lot of sacrifice. Keyword is sacrifice. You gonna have to sacrifice even today. Like, I gotta sacrifice time away from my kids. I gotta sacrifice sleep. Like, time is more valuable to me than money.
Yeah.
Cause at the end of the day, I need time to go make that money. So at the end of the day, like, I hate for my time to be wasted, played with. Like, people don't know we still grinding to this day. Like, we drove 15 hours down here.
Word.
That ain't something that people do on a regular every week, or like, we done it. You know what I'm saying? When we on tours and stuff, we on the road. We ain't flying everywhere. Most of the tours I done did to this day, we done drove to every city.
Yeah.
I done watched this man drive 14, 15 hours straight. You know, make sure we in good hands, you know what I'm saying? Cause that's what we doing. Like, we beating the road up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody that's around me, like, they see some type of value and they believe in what I got going on, so they understand the principle of, like, look, we gotta grind, we gotta work, and this shit ain't gonna be easy.
Yeah.
And most of all, this shit is a marathon, it ain't no sprint. And that's what a lot of niggas get the game misconstrued. They think they gonna be a CEO overnight.
Right.
Nigga, this shit took years for me to build up to. I've been building this CEO brand up since I was in my 20s.
Right.
So I could thrive in my 30s.
Yeah.
And I could retire in my 40s. So.
Nah, for sure. Like, what people don't understand is that it takes so many years to build a business. They say that when you start a business, you should automatically just accept the fact that there might be 5 to maybe even 10 years of where you not really making money. Like I said, you pay, like, you know, money's coming in, but you paying it out, you know, hella overhead, whatever, you know, other expenses that you may have. But, you know, there could be, you know, time. I think I even heard Ice Cube talking about that. How it could, you know, take so many years to, you know, so I think that's one of those other things that falls under that misconceptions that we was talking about being a CEO is that, you know. And
you gotta be okay with breaking even some days, some months. Like, every month ain't gonna be a great month. Like, that's just in any business. Like, you ask anybody in any major corporation that they ever took a loss, man, I had to take 7 no's before I got 1 yes. And that's just the reality of it. Everybody's so used to seeing the finished product, but they don't understand what we had to go through to get to that finished product. They don't understand, like, all the hard work and the grind, the sleepless nights that we had to go through. It's been times when even when I started my own business, like, some of the team would go eat dinner and I'm still in the field working, one deep, like, cause at the end of the day, like, I gotta depend on me. At the end of the day, I don't have, like, no backbone to just fall back on. Like, once you become a certain status, it's hard to maintain. Most people cannot backfill, help maintain that lifestyle for me. It's all on you. Like my daddy used to say, what you put into something is what you gonna get out.
Yeah, nah, for sure. Can you remember the last time that you actually paid attention to what day of the week it was?
Man, I ain't gonna lie. Like, them weeks be going by so quick. Like, even yesterday, I actually thought about it yesterday. I was like, damn, is it really Monday? Like, cause it didn't feel like no Monday, cause it's like, for me, it's like days of the week don't matter. Like, look, work don't stop, man. Like, we working every day, 24/7 around the clock. Like, even when we was driving down here, I'm grinding. I ain't have a studio, but that studio was that SUV. I'm in the lab writing, cause like, work don't stop. Hits gotta be made. I know what I gotta do. If I wanna accelerate at a faster rate, I gotta work 10 times harder. The same way they used to give us that analogy on a job, like the black man used to have to work 10 times harder than the white man to prove himself in a corporation.
Absolutely.
So you gotta take that same mentality with your own craft, cause it's not your business. It ain't the white man corporation, it's your corporation. So if you ain't putting in 110% for yourself, then what you doing?
I mean, even to what you just said, I just recently saw something where the CEO of Twitch said that Kai Cenat and I Show Speed shouldn't be he doesn't consider them to be on the Mount Rushmore of Twitch streamers. But Kai Cenat got the most subscribers of anybody on Twitch.
Yeah.
So I saw that as what you was just talking about, where I'm like, Kai Cenat got the most subscribers, but the CEO of Twitch don't consider him to be one of the greatest streamers. Like, black folks just gotta work even harder to be accepted or to get that recognition.
I mean, but we are.
You just gotta put yourself through a process.
Yeah.
It's like dealing with CEO is, I trust the process. You know what I'm saying? So as a black man trying to, you know what I'm saying, create his own business and create his own, you gonna always have somebody try to tear him down.
Yeah.
Regardless if he been successful or not, somebody is there to tear him down. It's just a process you got to put yourself through.
Yeah.
And you got to make sure you have the right ones around you to trust that process. Because at the end, it's going to pay off. It's going to pay off. You're going to be able to laugh in people's face that didn't have faith in your process.
No, that's real
That's
spit.
how it is.
And you went to Southern University.
Yes, sir.
Got your degree in marketing.
I did.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, man. I got my degree in marketing. So, you know, when I saw that, I was like, I gotta give you props and we gotta talk about that, because people also don't understand taking like those other making those other sacrifices, you know, to get to where you know, trying to get to. Can you just speak on the value of starting something and finishing it, completing it, bro?
Nah, real talk. So I actually was one of the first males to actually graduate from college in my family, like as far as like from this generation. So it's very important because like I tell people never give up. Like I try to start, like when I start something, I want to actually finish it. And it's a lot of setbacks because like, you know, for me personally, like I told you earlier, I was attracted to getting money. So I spent a lot of time working more than I was in the classroom. So it was definitely a struggle because by the time I hit my junior year, like reached out to my parents and was like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna finish school. Like, I mean, I'm 3 years in by this point, but I'm trying to get some money. And they was like, man, you know, it's gonna be your decision at the end of the day. And, you know, I thought long and hard about it. And I think one of my biggest influences that helped me stay in school was that I seen a lot of my fraternity brothers started graduating. And I said, man, I don't wanna be like that misfit, because you know one thing we talk about in the fraternity is scholarship, manly deeds, love for all mankind, but most importantly scholarship. I wanted to be able to say that I went and actually finished, because everybody didn't finish. Like, a lot of people I started college with didn't finish, and I didn't want to be just another statistic that didn't finish. So I said, you know what, I went ahead. I actually started off in business finance, and I think when I switched over my major to business marketing, that's what helped me. You know, I started working closely more with my professors, some of the professors that really believed in me, and they, you know, they got me together. And I went ahead and ended up finishing like a year and a half or 2 years later after I had made a decision that I wasn't gonna drop out.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. Congrats on that too, bro.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I got my degree in applied economics and a minor in marketing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where you went to school?
University of Minnesota.
Okay.
Yeah, because you know I told you I'm from Milwaukee.
Yeah,
so they had the situation where you could go to Minnesota and pay in-state tuition. So I went up there, tried to play football. That didn't work out fast. And
Nah, it'd be like I said, it's hard, especially going to a HBCU like Southern. Like we went to what was known as a party school.
Yeah.
So it wasn't easy trying to work, party, talk to women, do all that fun stuff, and then, you know, that's like your first time really away from home when you go to college, you know. So it was definitely not the easiest to adapt at first, and you had to make some critical decisions, because I figured the decisions that I was gonna make in my 20s was gonna definitely affect me in my 30s if I didn't stay in school. Like, had I not, you know, went to school and built those social networks and those relationships that had carried over to after college. And also, like, even to this day, I feel like it was I encourage a lot of kids these days that's in high school, you know, you got student loans and all of that, but go to college. You know, that's one of the biggest things that we try to like emphasize on, like, go to high school, go to college, because you never know what you missing until you experience it.
Yeah.
And I'm forever grateful for my Southern University experience. So.
Nah, for sure. The networking that you get in college, you know, the experience, even having to withhold a schedule and manage having 5 to 6 classes, a job, you know, having fun, a relationship, like all of that. People don't understand like how much that can prepare you for the real world.
Real world, yeah. Cause I tell people like, man, look, even with being in a fraternity, I'm like, man, you can go through the bullshit we went through with that. I can go through anything in life, honestly. Like, you couldn't even pay me $1 million to go back through that process. Just keeping it 100.
Yeah.
But it's all love though, cause it made me the man who I am today.
Word. No, I can dig it. And one of your fellow alumni, David Banner, he was on the porch and he was talking about Southern and just how much his experience there, you know, he still looks at that as being something that helps him in every aspect of life, you know, right now.
Yeah, because he was actually the student government president.
Oh, yeah. He gonna let you know that. SGA president,
Yes, sir.
Nah, for sure.
And that's a lot of hard work, man, to get to that point, because that means the campus really respect you as a leader to put you in that position.
Yeah,
So.
For sure. Now, you mentioned that you were in a fraternity, and I had Jim Jones up here on the porch, and we had an interesting conversation that went viral about fraternities being similar to gangs.
Oh, most definitely. Like, I keep it 100. Like, man, I'll tell you, and it's a true story. Like, man, It's crazy. Like one of my homeboys from back in the hood, he's like, man, he said, I see you went and crossed the burning sands. And I was like, yeah. He said, he just asked me about my experience. He said, you had to pay for that shit? I was like, yeah. He said, what? You had to pay to get your ass whooped? He said, man, you could have just came over here in the hood and been a crip. I was like, for free. Like, so it's just like, man, it was definitely one of them experiences that I would definitely, like, I tell people all the time, like, off the record and on the record, like, that shit like being a part of a gang, but a more organized gang, because it's like, we ain't out here stealing and killing and, you know, shooting up people, trying to beat up people intentionally. Like, we more some structured networking type vibes. You know, yeah, we have to go through a little process, you know, prior to, you know, crossing the burning sands, but at the end of the day, like, you know, I didn't agree with everything we went through, but at the same time, it was more good than bad, I would say that. But yeah, definitely more, I would say, like, we ain't no different from Crips and Bloods. I mean, to a certain degree, like, we get down too.
Yeah.
You know, like, we one unit, one band, one sound. Like, if somebody come break up our line, shit, we get down the same way. We got guns too, shit, we got fists. Like, we get down, we gonna stand on business if you disrespect us. But we not just intentionally going out there looking for trouble.
Yeah.
So.
Right. And there's been a lot of controversy about fraternities and the hazing process. And, you know, we've been seeing some deaths over the recent years.
Most definitely.
Of people, you know, trying to join fraternities. What's your thoughts on, you know, what's your thoughts on that? I know there might be some stuff that you can't really dig too deep in with it, but what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, shit, I don't be tripping on that shit. I keep it P. Like, that's what made me who I am to this day. Like, if I had to call it these days, what was built for me, because, man, we celebrating our 15-year anniversary being a frat. I don't feel like the kids these days should have to go through the shit we went through, because times have changed, you know what I mean? Like, these kids nowadays, they barely even getting spanked by they parents.
Yeah.
So what makes you think they gonna be able to go through something even more vigorous, you know what I mean, these days, and expect them to survive through that, you know? They had a young man that was pledging Omega Psi Phi at Southern University. That's the first real debt we done had from a pledging incident this year.
Yeah.
And it really broke my heart because that man didn't have to lose his life just to cross a fraternity. So if it was up to me, I would do away with all of it, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could still keep the social aspect, the parties, the stepping, you know, the giving back, the feeding the homeless, to keep that aspect of it. But like, even like when I was in school, like, I didn't give a damn about pledging niggas like that. All I was worried about was like, man, get this money and fuck these bitches. That's how I feel. If you want me to keep it 100. Like, I didn't give a fuck about the whole physical and the mental hazing aspect of the process because, like, I really didn't care for it. Like, that doesn't make me a bigger man if I gotta go beat on another nigga ass. Yeah. But if you sit there and teach that nigga some knowledge, give him some real game, that's the access you getting when you cross over them burning sands, because you got big brothers like me that are a prime example of people that's trying to do the right thing. Like, I don't even go back for processes anymore, if they even still have them. But I don't really care. Like, I got too much to lose. Yeah. Like, I'm not about to throw my life away because y'all want to go do some dumb shit. Like, they even got a law, even in Louisiana right now, that hazing is just as bad as a felony. And now they got 3 young men now that's probably facing 25 to life in prison because they didn't kill this young man. You know what I'm saying? Think about that was your son that was going through that process. Even though I'm in a fraternity, they don't give you the right to punish that man so bad to where, like, this man caught a seizure, they didn't get him, they didn't call 911, and then try to make a fabricated story behind the bullshit, and they didn't get him to the hospital in time enough for him to at least save his life. Yeah, y'all might have dealt with like some battery charges, but it would have been better than dealing with a homicide, because that's how they gonna treat it. Even if y'all didn't intentionally want to hurt this man like that, he still died. Yeah. And they could have, that's somebody's son. And from what I know, shit, I think his daddy even a sheriff.
Oh, wow. They done.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they done. Like, real talk. Like, that's bad for business. Like, I can't really show pity on it, because even though we went through it, we knew when enough was enough. like if you gonna haze, at least haze smart. I ain't saying that it's a right thing in hazing, but if you gonna do it, at least be smart about it.
Right.
And that's coming from an OG alpha. You know, we played bloody. Coming out of Baton Rouge, it wasn't easy. Baton Rouge ain't no easy city to pledge in.
Yeah.
So it's just like when you talk about pledging in this society, I would do away with a lot of the hazing activities. That's just me.
Right. Nah, I can dig that. Stepping back into the music, what was the first song that you recorded and put out that let you know that you should take this serious?
Let's see. I would say CEO Business.
Okay.
I dropped that in, I think, April or May of 2023. But it wasn't until a year later when me and DJ Chose linked up that I knew that, like, hey, I'm gonna have to really buckle down, because I started to see the responses that people was getting, the buzz that it was getting, the acceptance that I was getting into the industry, and the people that took a chance on me and didn't even know my music or even knew who I was personally. And I feel like that's when I knew I need to take it 100%, give it my all, and start, producing more hits.
You and DJ Chose have a really good chemistry with each other. How did that relationship come about, and what's the process when you guys work together?
So, like, it's crazy. I didn't even meet DJ Chose for the first time till we was like damn near 4 records in.
Word.
It's crazy. Like, we did everything remotely, and never had talked on the phone, none of that. Like, we did everything like by square business. Like, we did everything through his management, starting out. And it wasn't until he had a booking in San Antonio, and he ended up coming to my house and we chopped it up. And that was like our first initial like collaborative time, just linking up, shooting the shit. Like, damn, like, you hard. Then of course, like, I met him a few times, even like after that, cause we had shot some music videos and vibed out. So it's crazy, cause we actually got a album that's gonna be coming, a collab album coming together 2026. So definitely be on the lookout, man. Twerk Olympics coming soon. So.
Word. And your song "Get Some" with featuring DJ Chose, that song hit the Apple Music charts.
Yeah, it did, and that's actually one of the songs that's gonna be on the Twerk Olympics. We just released it as a single, so that will be one of the songs that will be on our collaborative album, 8-track album coming soon. So yeah, "Get Some" was definitely one of them ones that I fucked with.
Okay, word. And then you guys actually had a Twerk Olympics, right?
Yeah, we did.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, so we actually recently we just did our first Twerk Olympics in Houston, Texas. So this is something that we plan on continuing and furthering. It's supposed to be like, something that we might even do one out here on the fly. You never know, but we definitely got some of that coming soon. Where we're gonna take that tour on, take that brand of that brand of what we got going on. We're gonna take that on tour for sure.
Right. And when people hear your music, what type of vibe should they expect?
Shit, throw that ass. Like, real talk, like coming from the 99 and the 2000 vibes, like, I'm trying to tell you, but throw that ass. Yeah.
I can dig it. And and your most recent song is Arch Your Back. Word.
That's right.
Can you talk about that joint?
Shit, man, it's just one of them. Like, think about it from this perspective. That's like when Juvenile made Back That Ass Up in '99. That's my Back That Ass Up anthem right there. That was like my first like twerk song that I actually did on my own without the help of like the Beat Kings, the DJ Chose. So like, that was a special record for me. That's something that I cooked up in the lab with shout out to June the Genius. That's one of my producers. So we actually collabed on that album. So he did the production behind it, and I did all the vocals.
Right. So. And June the Genius, y'all collab. I see on a lot of stuff. You guys work with each other frequently.
Yeah.
You dropped the EP called 4-Letter Word, which has an R&B vibe to it.
Yeah.
How'd that come together?
So I would say that's probably another one of my strong, Yeah. So that's like one of my strong suits. Like, I don't just do twerk music, I also do music that's timeless as well. Like, not to say that twerk music is not timeless, because as you see, they still playing Back That Ass Up 20, 30 years later. But you know, with the R&B music, I would consider myself like a certified lover boy. Like that gives you a chance to see a different side of me as far as my artistry. So, like I said, I definitely do the R&B collabs as well. So that's one of the like my strong suits because it reminds me of like poetry and spoken words, and it kind of gets me back into that mode.
Right. And for Get Some, you dropped the Swisher House remix.
I did.
For that.
So that was some
Shout out
DJ Michael Wise actually had discovered me. He DM'd me one day and was like, man, I fuck with your music. He was like, man, I want to remix your song and shit. We made it happen and shit. A couple months later, he ended up, well, not even a couple months. It actually was this year when they dropped it. Like a year later, he had finally caught on to the song and he went ahead and dropped the Swisher House remix to Get Some.
Yeah, nah, that's legendary.
Yeah, nah, for real, to get that co-sign without me having to go out and like seek or reach out to them, like for him to come to me, that was some real ass shit, you know, from him, especially from my OG, cause when they was playing Michael Watts, man, back in the day, man, I was like middle school, so he was dealing with the whole Slim Thug era, Paul Wall, Lil Kiki, so to get that co-sign from him really meant a lot, especially for up and coming artists out of Houston, so.
Right. And Houston has so much rich culture from hip hop to, you know, just Houston itself, the rodeo, the food, just, you know, everything. What's one of your favorite aspects of Houston culture?
I would say definitely the music, the food, you know, we have like different monumental like places in the H where, you know, you could just, when you pull up to the city, you know where to go, you know. From like he knows. But even shout out to Frozen Paradise, man, with my girl Annette Terrell over there. But even even outside of them, I would say like, you know, we got the Chimichans, man, like Cali Kitchen. What's our Frenchies.
Frenchies,
Frenchies,
I was about to say that,
yeah.
Love some Frenchies chicken.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's
And
very
it definitely
real.
hit different than it hit in any other city. Yeah, Papa Do's that spot, no, for sure. You've been performing internationally. You've done some shows, in Punta Cana and the DR.
Yeah.
What was that experience like?
So it's crazy. That was actually my first performance ever on stage, and that was probably to this day one of my most viral videos on Instagram. Like, man, I took a leap out on faith, and like, you know, I got with some of the guys, cause I actually do business out there too. So I got real estate, I even got houses out in the DR right now. So I went out there, man, when I started doing the music, I talked to the DJ and then before I even got out there, like, man, y'all should put me on for a show. So they ended up having me booked at like one of the hottest clubs out there and shit. I performed, at the time I only had 2 records out and shit, I performed the most recent one that I did that I feel like that's the one that got me really motivated, which is what I was telling you about earlier, CEO Business. That's the one that got me motivated and made me feel like, hey, I could really do this shit, because all it took was one day for me to touch that stage, and I said, okay, we're gonna keep moving forward with this until we can't go no more.
Yeah. And your music also was getting played in Ghana.
Yeah, it was. Man, I almost forgot about that. In Africa, yeah, it did. Damn. Yeah, they took a liking to that Get Some, man. Like it's crazy. I didn't even know that it was even playing globally like that. Because when I look at the stats, I be thinking like, man, is they really listening to this Get Some? And one of the radio personalities had reached out to me to do like a remote interview. And I was like, damn, this nigga even know the words to the song. I was like, damn. So like stuff like that, I feel like when I see results, that made me even go 10 times harder. That let me know that somebody's out there worldwide listening to my music. So.
Nah, for sure. I mean, getting played over in Ghana, getting that play in other countries, it's one thing, for people in your own city to be, playing your music and all that, but to know that people across the world, are tapped in too. Yeah. And for, you to still be early in your career like this and be reaching people that far. Like that's
real good, yeah. That's why I say, like, man, don't give up, man, because like I said, like, what we put into it now, man, is what we gonna get out later. So like whatever the work we doing now, this is the fruits of our labor that we hope to reap in 2026. Cause like right now we just getting started. So like I said, it's a lot more in store for y'all to look forward to, cause like I said, right now we doing a young CEO takeover, man, so let's get it.
Word. Now, you said a boss is measured by how he blesses others.
That's right.
And you just did your second annual back to school backpack drive.
That's right.
What inspires you to give back, you know, and you know, doing your second annual, you know, and you just really getting in the game, you know? Like, what inspires you to do?
I mean, this ain't nothing new. Like, just because I'm an artist don't mean that this is something that I just started doing. Well, this goes all the way back to, like, when we was in a fraternity. Like, this was something that was embedded and instilled in us, even, like, from a young age, too. Like, my parents always taught me to give back to others, because, like, you'll get a bigger blessing when you give back to others, because there's always somebody that's less fortunate than you. Because I know if the roles were reversed, I feel like somebody would pay it forward to me as well. So just growing up in the church, like with my religious beliefs and how I grew up, I was always known to have a good heart, come from a good family, and they taught me to give back to others. Like, that was almost mandatory. That's like the same way we put on our pants and zip up our pants, put on our belts, put on our shoes. That's the same way how I move with people that's around me, and also when it moves with people that's less fortunate than me. And I know, like, just growing up, we didn't always have even though I had two parents, we wasn't rich, you know what I'm saying? My parents had to work hard to get it, to make sure that me and my sister was able to eat. So when it came to, like, doing the second annual or even the first one, backpack drive, like, I wanted to make sure that, you know, kids could go up there and get their, you know, fresh face for good grades was the thing, and also be able to have, like, real nice ass backpacks, have school supplies, and that makes them feel good that they got somebody in the community that's really like looking out for them. So,
Man, that was fun.
It's a blessing to be a blessing.
yeah, it is.
See them smiles on them kids' faces.
Yeah, because you know, a lot of times kids just want somebody to care.
Yeah.
Just want, you know, that's one of the biggest things I feel like is that, you know, at a young age, a lot of us are just seeking for somebody to care, whether it's a parent, whether it's an OG in the neighborhood, or just somebody around us. You just want somebody to care.
And it's not just on backpack drive. Like, even like not even a couple days before I came out here, like, they had some kids. I was taking my kids to go, you know, Halloween shopping. And they had these two kids, and I didn't even know they was from Houston. They just happened to live in San Antonio, and they was raising money to go to what we have. It's called Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. It's like pretty much no different from like what we grew up on, Astroworld. Mm-hmm. And mind you, these kids got to be anywhere between like at least 12 and 15 years old. And I respect that they out here trying to be their own bosses by trying to raise money so they can be able to like go to Six Flags and do certain things that they couldn't do on their own. So I told them, like, look, I got y'all. I talked with them, because one of the non-profits I'm trying to start is called Bosses on Bosses. And it's basically like try to help and encourage and mentor kids to be their own boss. And while them doing that, that really, you know, it really warmed my heart to be able to donate back to them, because everything that I do, it doesn't always get televised or publicized. That just happened to be one of the events that I do once a year to make it aware, so people know they do have somebody in the community that's young, black, and that's trying to give back to whether, it don't matter what race you is, as long as if you less fortunate and it's something that you need to go back, you need certain essentials to go back to school. Like I told you, education is one of my priorities. Like, I encourage kids to go to high school, go to college. They need that. It starts right there in the elementaries, the middle schools, the high schools. So if they feel like they don't have school supplies, some of them might not be encouraged to go to school. Yeah. If they feel like they don't look their best, they self-esteem not be where it need to be they feel good to go to school. So that's why we put on these type of programs at least like once a quarter to encourage kids to be great.
Wow. What's one of the biggest life lessons that you learned?
Man, life lessons, I would definitely say, that's a good one. It's so many. I mean, I'm learning lessons every day. You know, one of the big life lessons I've learned is never try to burn bridges with people that help you. I would say that's a big one for me, because at the end of the day, like, respect is everything. That's like the highest level of anything as far as lessons that I feel like I was always taught to respect people, that put a helping hand out for me, because you never know when you might need that person. Like, you should never try to put somebody down, because the same way, like, I was broke at one point, people might have tried to put me down. You never know what position I'm gonna be in 5, 10 years from now. That might be the same person that you might be knocking on their door. So I would say biggest life lesson is, like, never burn bridges, man. Always treat people with respect, and always try to encourage people and support them, because when it's your time and as your time is next up, then you need that. There'll be those same people that'll support you when you need them.
Right. And you mentioned earlier that you have kids.
Yeah.
What is, some values that you instill in your kids, some things to value outside of money? Outside
of money, just like common characteristics, like just character. Like, be respectful, like I try to bring back the old traditions, like always respect your elders. Yes, ma'am, yes, sir. Like, just generosity, knowing your character first. Cause like, that's where everything starts, with respect. Like, if you got a fucked up character, what makes you think I'm gonna respect you a certain type of way? So like, I try to teach them, like, just manners, having good character, and just like, everything from hygiene to anything you could think of, just like being organized, asking the right questions. Don't always feel like, I tell people, a closed mouth never get fed. And that's one thing that, like, I'm currently working on, even with my kids. Like, don't be afraid to, like, not tell me something because you think it's gonna make me upset, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's just like, always, like, try to put yourself in a position to ask more questions, because that's how you learn.
Right.
So.
And on the music tip, you did a feature with Sauce Walker, right?
That's right.
What's another artist or some other artists that you aspire to have features with?
I would say definitely Big Boogie.
Okay.
It's crazy, like, this other guy's actually a new artist, kind of like myself, Johnny DMD. Okay. I think me and him would do some good work together.
I just had him on the porch a few days ago.
Man, that's crazy, yeah. Like, cause I like to do work with artists that do, like, similar music to what I do. Like, one thing about us is, like, before you see anything coming, we got a stage presence out the ass. Yeah. So it's like, when we perform, that's one of the biggest, like, strong suits that we got. No matter what type of music we make, like, we here to turn y'all up and have a good time. Cause like, that's what we want to get people back to doing, is getting on them dance floors, getting turned. Cause back then, I said it in one of my last songs that I was working on the album with Chose, like, it wasn't no sections of hookers, only bad bitches and hookers. You had to get behind some ass and play your part till she pulled you. Like, that's real talk. Yeah. We giving real knowledge to game, cause like now it's like the respect level is different. Like, you got a section, they look at you as a different type of person. Versus like, why y'all ain't on the dance floor dancing? Right. You know what I mean? So we just want to get back to the old ways when people actually was out having fun, wasn't being all stuck up and bougie. And that go for guys too. Like, sitting in a section don't make you a man. Right. Get down there. What you come to the club for? If you gonna sit on a couch, you could have did it at the house. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, for real talk.
Spend $300 on a $60 bottle.
That's crazy work. That's like the biggest finesse in society to this day.
Man, for real.
Like, I tell people, like, man, buying sections in a club, that's a tourist sport. Like, real talk. That's really a tourist sport, because it's like, why I'ma do that when I could damn near go pay the same money, go get an Airbnb or be at my crib and pop bottles for free, man, and have more bitches than I would have in the club, just being 100.
Yeah. Well, nah, it'd be dope.
Like, we here for a good time, not a long time.
Right,
you know?
Right. Nah, that'd be dope to get that Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth connection,
Nah, it's definitely gonna happen. They got a couple people behind the scenes trying to push that issue to try to get us together. Shout out to my nigga Lil Ronnie motherfucker. We probably gonna end up getting us one in. He more the old Dallas movement, but he's still a legend though. We always gonna pay respect to the people that came before us on the music scene. Outside of Big Boogie and Johnny DMD, they definitely got, I would say that, I mean, he a little bit older. Two older legends I want to do collabs with is Ludacris and Juvenile.
Okay, well.
They was two people that was very inspirational to me in the music grind. I shouted them out in my last record, shouted Disturbing the Peace family, shouted the Cash Money record. So I feel like just because they older don't mean that they music ain't timeless. Yeah. Nah, for real, like Juvenile still killing it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
And even though Ludacris done went Hollywood and, he a movie star now, I still respect him as an artist though.
Yeah, the boys.
Yeah, he
yeah,
really, he really one. He really, yeah, he literally one of them people. He has the personality, he has the charisma.
Yeah.
You only get one Ludacris of this generation.
Yeah.
Like
Himself.
yeah, he was one of them ones.
Nah, for sure. All right, what's your prediction on this Cash Money versus No Limit, the verses?
Oh, I seen that.
No Limit Soldier.
Man, I'm unbiased because I listened to both of them growing up. You know, I mean, Cash Money had a little bit of something I like. You know, No Limit had a little bit of something I like. You know, I was a big man. And I'm gonna be real. Like I only had a certain amount of CDs in my little binder that I actually really fucked with, and the ones that I actually bought too.
Yeah.
And Mystical was one of them.
Oh yeah.
Master P was another one. I could take it back to man, what's that album from 2001 with Ludacris? Word of Mouth.
Okay, Word of Mouth, yeah.
That was another one, but we talking about Cash Money. I definitely bought the man, what's that record? #1 Stunner and Get Your Roll On was on.
With Manny Fresh.
Yeah,
Oh,
Big
yeah,
Timers,
Big
yeah.
Everybody get your
So
roll on.
yeah, real talk. So it's kind of like it's an even tie for me.
Yeah.
So I want to pay respects to both, you know, No Limit Records and also Cash Money because like I can't really say I got a favorite when I fucked with both of them.
Yeah. Nah.
But I mean, but since we talking about it, who you think gonna win the verse?
So at first I said Cash Money, but then I started going through the catalog, and I think No Limit got it, bro. I think No Limit got it. Because No Limit almost got a couple of cheat codes. Because when you jump to Mystical, when you jump to the Snoop songs like Lay Low,
Yeah.
and
Down South Hustle.
man, come
But
on.
like, but see, Live made it depend on the artist. Yeah, it depend on the artist too.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause that 400 degrees. I ain't
Yeah,
gonna
that's
lie.
400
I ain't
degrees.
gonna
Yeah.
lie.
Degrees.
And the High Boys.
Yeah.
I think-
and like
And
and
Wayne,
BG.
shit, Wayne
Like,
did
Yeah.
shit up
BG
there.
got some joints.
Yeah.
But look, just between the three artists at Cash Money, I'ma say between Juvenile, Wayne, and just the High Boys, BG, man, they might be taking it. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
CEO, I can share something.
Yeah, come on.
Hey, man, look, the way I see it, because I'm from Louisiana, you heard? P gave us the game on how to get the money.
Yeah,
How to
that's
be
a
CEOs.
fact.
He set the bar, set the standard.
For
that
sure.
shit, you heard?
For the South.
Baby taught us how to get the money and how to flash and how to ball on that shit, you heard me?
Yeah.
Hey, this a prime example of how to get it and look good doing, how to look good getting it. you heard?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, it's a tie. I gotta get it to both of them. you heard?
Yeah, that's why I told you. I say it's hard to really say unless you basing it off of the artist. But if I had to go based off of like which label I feel like I'm more like a No Limit Soldier. Cause like I said, Master P, he was a big influence on me growing up too. I feel like my demeanor more like a Master P than like a Baby. Like I don't care to flash out my money all the time.
Yeah.
Cause at the end of the day, you gonna already know just I'm a boss when I walk in the building. You know what I'm saying? Any room you put me in, you gonna just know like, all right, we know who the head nigga in charge. And that been with any circle I ever been in. You gonna know, cause how I looked at it, like the loudest one in the room is the nigga that ain't got the money. The most quietest one that just sit back and observe, that's the boss right there.
Yeah.
Cause we watching, we playing chess, we ain't playing checkers.
Yeah. Nah, that's real. What else you working on? What else you got coming up that you excited about?
Man, I mean, I got a lot of shit, man. Right now, we pushing this, we pushing this Archie Beck record, man. That's like the biggest thing I'm more excited about. We going on the run with this. We plan on heating this up, so hopefully you start hitting it more often, more frequent out here in Atlanta streets. I would definitely say that Twerk Olympics album I just finished up last week, so I'm really excited about that. Hell, Chose don't even know I finished it yet. He out on tour right now with Kevin Gates for that Amilo tour, so I know it's gonna be exciting for us to sit in the lab, man, so we can listen to the album before we drop it. I also got another album gonna be dropping, my own personal album called Blessings on Blessings. Okay. And then I'm also working on like a little 5-track EP, man. I'm probably gonna release with DJ XO.
Okay.
So
Wow, that's what's up, man. And you got any shout outs you want to give?
Man, I want to just shout out to all my people, man, that's here supporting me today, man. First and foremost, man, shout out to God, man, because without him, I wouldn't be here. A lot of people try to remove God out of a lot of situations, but a lot of people don't know that without him, man, I wouldn't even be here. You know what I'm saying? This ain't nothing shy of a miracle that I even made it to off the porch, man. Like, it's crazy, because I think I was supposed to come out here, I want to say, last year, and just time of the essence wasn't working in our favor. So it's a blessing to be here, man. Shout out to all my people back in Houston, San Antonio, all my fans that's out here loving on me and ain't hating on me. So, like I said, man, first and last but not least, man, shout out to you, man, for having me here. Because like I said, this was a real productive interview today. Like, we got to touch on a lot of points, man, a lot of societal things. We touched on some shit that was deeper than others, and like, I had a good time, man. Like I said, like, shout out to everybody, man. Make sure y'all check me out. Go follow me. If y'all don't know who I am, man, Young CEO Business, YUNG CEO BIDNESS. Man, that's on Instagram, all of that, TikTok. Follow me, man. YouTube, we out here, man. We the next up.
Yes, sir. Young CEO, appreciate you pulling up, jumping off the porch with us, bro.
Yes, sir.
Feeling swole, only bad bitches, not no silly hoes. Talk to me nice, never not twice. James Bond with the heat, 007 when it's on sight. Terrence Crawford.